Well, at the end of a year that's been absolutely hammered by inflation, high interest rates and energy crisis, many businesses say they're struggling. In an annual survey known as the Disruption Index, thousands of senior executives say they'll need to change their business models if they're to survive. Let's talk to Simon Freakley, who's CEO of AlixPartners, the company that carried out this research. Simon, good to see you. Welcome back. Well, you're the guy big business phones when they're in trouble, and my goodness, it's been a pretty challenging 12 months. What are most CEOs calling you with? What are the biggest challenges they're facing?
Thank you, Jamie, and good to be with you. Well, as you say, our annual disruption survey this year proved that almost 100% of the 3,000 CEOs that we interviewed in 10 of the major Western and Eastern economies and 9 major industries, almost 100% of them said that they felt the business models of their businesses would need to change fundamentally in the next 3 years. That maybe isn't surprising. What is surprising coming out of the survey is that 75% of those chief executives felt that they weren't able to move fast enough to make that transition happen.
Why? Why can't they move fast enough? Are they simply too big, not used to this, or what?
I think there's a couple of issues, Jamie. I think there's multiple disruptions happening in every geography, in every market. There are the longer term ones that, of course, we're all aware of, the challenge of energy transition, climate issues, environmental pressures in terms of how that manifests in terms of supply chain and packaging, for instance, demographic changes. These are big seismic shifts going on. But on top of that, we then have these very, very severe disruptions, a ground war in Ukraine and the disruption in supply chain and foodstuffs, for instance, that's resulting from that. Significant challenges still in achieving enough talent to drive a change in business model. That particularly manifests itself in digital skills, so people trying to pivot their technology quickly enough to be prepared for these fundamental changes. It is the layering of these things, Jamie, on top of each other that are leaving executive teams overwhelmed. I mean, many of them say to me, Simon, we simply don't know where to start because there are so many priorities.
Simon, if this landscape doesn't get easier quickly for business leaders, what does it require for them to do? What do you tell those business leaders that they need to do?
Yes, well, Jamie, in what could be described as a poly-crisis, there's still an awful lot of opportunity. We think that disruption represents threats, and of course there are some threats in that, but there's also rich opportunity. So to your question, what the best leaders are doing, what the best management teams are doing, is they're making sure that they are not being a hostage of one global supply chain. They're planning for global, regional and local supply chain solutions so that they always have the ability to make choice. It's not just in time anymore, it's just in case. They're also making sure that they're selling non-core assets, they are conserving cash, because in a world of opportunity on the back of these disruptions, there will be special deals, there will be companies springing loose from groups that are considered to be non-core that represent special opportunities for M&A. People are also looking at how they do pivot their workforces to make sure that they can capitalize on new digital models. And fundamentally, people are ensuring the best leaders, the best management teams are to the extent possible making sure that their costs are variable rather than fixed. So they always have the ability to maneuver when circumstances change. But fundamentally, the best leaders, the best teams move to action. They have a predisposition to move to action. And even if they're not completely sure what to do, they do it nearly right, but do it now. There's a premium on action.